Why do we work out? It may seem like an extremely basic question, but it's so important to understand. And while some things may come to mind quickly, like, I want to get in shape, there's a lot more to it that we need to dig into. So that's what we're talking about in this episode, number 127, craziness. So strap in and get ready. Let's go.
I've always been that skinny guy.
Why can't I gain muscle mass?
What do I do in the gym?
They said I'd always be skinny.
This is your complete source for how to gain lean muscle and break out of your skinny body. From nutrition to getting the most out of your workouts and everything in between. We know just how frustrating gaining muscle mass can be, but don't worry, we've got you covered. You're listening to the Bones to Bulk podcast. Hey, welcome to today's episode. My name is Brian Parody. I will be your host today. And before we dive into today's content, if you have not been over to our YouTube channel, please go check it out. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our videos. But we launch 2 videos per week. I demonstrate workouts, I demonstrate exercises, I talk about nutrition, do recipes. It's a great resource to coincide along with this podcast. So if you've not, youtube.com/bones to bulk, and I would be forever grateful if you would subscribe to the channel. All right, with that being said, let's dive into today's content. So why do we work out? Why should we get fit? What is the whole purpose behind fitness? All right, so if you actually look at the definition of the word fitness, it is the condition of being physically fit and healthy. And one thing that I find interesting that it adds to it, it says that disease and a lack of fitness are closely related. And I just kind of want to, not to be like a downer by any means, but I want to talk about the negative aspects of not working out. And the negative aspects are we're often more prone to different sicknesses, different diseases that can come about because we're living in a very unhealthy state, whether it be cardiovascular issues, whether it's an issue with blood sugar levels and diabetes, whether it's, there's this whole plethora of different things that stem from living an unhealthy lifestyle. And, we've become so inundated that fitness is just about the way we look, but we neglect far too often the underlying things that are going on to our body when we choose to be unhealthy. And again, this isn't to down anything or anyone, but it's to take a hard look at ourselves and realize, I'm responsible to be me. I have a responsibility. I've been given this body. I came into this world. The chances of me coming in this world were like 1 in 4 trillion. That's just insane to think about. That means technically we've already all won the lottery by being here. And it's really important to not take that lightly. And I don't mean that in the sense of, going overkill with things, but being grateful. Like, hey, I am here and I am capable of doing in whatever capacity some type of workout, some type of fitness, eating better. Yes, we're not all on the same level or we can all do the same things, but we can all do something. And that's the very important part that I want to drive home, because think about this from just a health perspective. We're putting all aesthetics aside right now, not even discussing aesthetics. Your health is the one thing that you have a lot of control over, but it's also the one thing that you can't replace it or buy it. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things that we're put in charge of it. It's like, let's say you were put in charge of a business. You're responsible for the day-to-day ins and outs and what goes in, what comes out. And it's just the same with our bodies. And so we need to look at it from that perspective of, hey, I've been given this body, and maybe I'm not built to be Dwayne Johnson, or maybe I'm not built to be a strongman or a triathlete, but I can still be the best that I'm able to be. And that does several things, I think, when we start pushing towards that and we start getting healthier. It not only affects us physically, and as far as, having more stamina, being able to lift more, beginning to change our aesthetics. Yes, that also comes into play. But more importantly, we begin to feel better. We begin to think differently. We begin to have more mental clarity. We begin to, as we push ourselves in the gym and accomplish hurdles and accomplish obstacles, we begin to wonder, hey, what else can I go out and accomplish? What else should I get into that I can overcome that maybe before I thought I couldn't? And this stems all throughout our lives because we build upon it. It's just a stepping stone. Fitness, I truly believe, is a stepping stone to becoming a more well-rounded person, a stronger person mentally, physically, spiritually. Before I got into fitness, I didn't understand mindset. I didn't understand the importance of, mental clarity and building the mind and reading and meditating and all that stuff. I didn't understand the importance of yoga, not only for the physical benefits, but for the mental benefits. I didn't understand what it was like to have confidence and to struggle with something and then finally accomplish that goal, whether it be to hit a certain 1 rep max or whether it be to hit a certain goal weight, and then the confidence that it instills to go and then do other things, both fitness related and non-fitness related. I didn't understand any of those things when I started. Those were things that I kind of just stepped into that fitness was a catalyst for. It propelled me into those things. And I think we often lose sight of that. We often lose sight of those benefits of fitness. We think about the aesthetics. We think about, fitting in our clothes better and getting to certain weights, but we don't think of that aspect. And that aspect is, to me, just as, if not more so important. You've heard this saying, you are what you eat. And a lot of that is very true because our bodies, they can only do stuff with what we give them. If I sit you down in front of a tub of Legos and all the Legos are, let's say, red pieces, and I'm like, hey, build a blue skyscraper, you're going to be like, well, there's no blue pieces. How am I going to build a blue skyscraper? I can build a red skyscraper. And we expect that of our bodies. We expect to just put whatever in it and get a different outcome. And it doesn't work that way. What we put in it is what we're going to get out of it. If we feed it garbage, if we feed it crap, guess what? Our physical state is going to be crappy. Our mental state is going to be crappy. There was a study done a few years, it was probably more than a few years back. I don't know the exact time frame, but it was a school, I believe, in Wisconsin or Minnesota, one of those northern states. And they did a study in this school where they changed the diet of the entire school. It was a school that pretty much everybody was suffering grade-wise. And they had, I don't know if it was a company that came in or if it was the people doing the research. Somebody came in and they pretty much were like, we're going to change the entire food structure of the school. And they basically stripped out all the bad stuff and they were feeding the kids highly nutritious meals and very good stuff for breakfast, for lunch. All the snacks that were available were all extremely healthy stuff. And what they saw is over the course of time, grades began to go up. Problems in school began to decrease. And it was a direct relation to that. Because we don't think that going and indulging in McDonald's and drinking soda and gorging on way too much alcohol, don't get me wrong, I enjoy having a drink and having a cheat meal, but when we do this stuff day after day after day, it not only does harm to our physical state, it does harm to our mental state. It's all tied together. We can't separate the mind from the body because everything functions as one. I mean, you've probably seen these crazy stories of when, somebody's done some crazy act of strength to save a child or something like lifted a car by themselves, or that's not the physical body doing that. That's the mind doing that. Because you take that person on any other day and be like, okay, lift this car. They're going to be like, no, I can't. You know what I mean? But you put them in that situation where their mind is like, hey, this kid or this person is going to die if I don't lift this car. That's a mental thing. And the mental makes the physical possible. You tracking? So I know I'm getting really deep and really kind of intense with this episode. It's a little heavier than some, but I really want you to understand the importance of getting your mindset right along with the physical. It's not just about having a six-pack to show off at the beach. Sure, that's cool, but that doesn't do anything for you long-term for your life. And so that's what I want you to think about when you're struggling maybe with, your fitness goals, when you're struggling with having cravings and not wanting to give up foods. Think about those things and let those push you through it. All right, so I appreciate you listening. If you're on any social media platform, please go check us out. We are at Bones to Bulk everywhere. We are on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Pinterest. You can find us anywhere. So check us out at Bones to Bulk. Follow us on those platforms if you are on them. And remember, you can accomplish any fitness goals that you set your mind to. You've got this.